Good morning, students and staff. It's Mr. Rubin, your school principal. I just want to officially welcome you to our annual, which is a very special day, our annual Veterans Day Assembly, which is going to be virtual this year. We made an extra point to make sure that we're all watching it together at this time, just out of respect for all those veterans who have served in different aspects of our country. Again, this is a very special day for us at Canfield School, but also here at Canfield's Village Middle School.
We celebrate Veterans Day because it's a time for us to pay our respects to those who have served. Veterans Day originated as Armistice Day. Then in 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower renamed it Veterans Day. Veterans Day was dedicated to world peace and held in honor of veterans of World War I. The reason why Veterans Day is on the 11th is because of the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, the armistice between Allied forces and Germany was put into effect. Looking at this year's Veterans Day, our idea was a way to help people understand veteran stories. We also believe this opens windows to different perspectives of others' points of view. We hope you see after this assembly that all our stories are interwoven and connected to others.
Yusef Kamiaka would serve in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War, where he'd experienced many traumatizing events that would stick with him for the rest of his life. In his quotes from his poem, Thanks, he expresses some of his experiences from the war and his emotion and brokenness he feels from those experiences. In some of these quotes, he talks about more notably impactful events that would happen to him in battle, where we believe he would be expressing his confusion on why he was lucky, why was every situation on his side for him to survive. He got a grenade thrown at him. It was a dud. The sun would shine before him, giving away an enemy's location. All of what happened was in his favor. Despite everything he went through, he survived. He got lucky, but in the end, it would leave him broken, confused, yet alive.
On September 14th, 1814, and inspired by the Battle of Fort McHenry, Francis Scott Key wrote a poem which later was set to a musical tune. Originally, the poem was titled The Defense of Fort McHenry. In 1931, the Star-Spangled Banner officially became the national anthem under President Herbert Hoover. Please rise for the national anthem performed by the Cardinal Chorale.
Every veteran's story matters. Tim Gastell Story. In 2003, while driving through a dangerous area of South Baghdad, 2 roadside bombs exploded. 2 pieces of shrapnel went through his lower individual body armor and went into his back. Tim was awarded the Purple Heart for greatly sacrificing himself and paid the ultimate price while on the line of duty. After the return of Sergeant Timothy Gastell, he stated, "I knew then I couldn't be the kind of soldier I wanted to be. So I needed to do something for my community. Today, Tim found ways to serve his community similar to how he served his country, such as Tim teaches history and coaches golf at Vista Ridge High School in Cedar Park, Texas. Through all the adversity, Tim came back with the willingness to continue to serve.
This year, we asked students at CVMS 2 very important questions in regards to Veterans Day. First, what should we do to thank a veteran today? Secondly, why should we thank a veteran for their service?
What can we do, Gabriel, to thank a veteran today?
We could really just go up to a veteran and just thank them for their service and have a conversation with them.
Mr. Rubin, what do you think we should be doing to recognize our veterans?
Well, that's a great question. At the minimum, I think this recognition assembly is definitely very important to make sure that veterans know how much we appreciate everything they've done to serve our country. One thing I like driving around a day or two before, watching commercials and seeing different restaurants, different people offering things to veterans, whether it's a free meal or different things around the community to make sure they feel honored and appreciated. Another thing that they could do is if they see a veteran, anytime I see somebody wearing a baseball hat with their war that they have served or done anything, or jackets or anything like that, I always go up to them and thank them for their service. So I think that's something that our students and even our staff can do as well.
Thank you. That sounds like some great easy ways that we can get involved on Veterans Day. What can we do, Molly, to thank a veteran today?
We can make a card and tell them that we thank you so much for serving in our service.
Honor to the soldier and sailor everywhere who bravely bears his country's cause. Honor also to the citizen who cares for his brother in the field and serves, as best he can, the same cause. These words were spoken by Abraham Lincoln. He was the 16th President of the United States and the Commander-in-Chief of the Union Army in the Civil War. Lincoln's words reiterate that everyone's story matters in leading unity amongst the country.
What can we do, Olivia, to thank a veteran today?
We can make them cards or attend a community fundraiser to support veterans.
Mr. Maroney, what do you think that we can do to thank a veteran today who has served?
I think the easiest thing to do is just when you see someone who's either a current military service person or a former service person is just thank them. Walk up, thank them for their service, shake their hand and tell them that you appreciate them protecting our country. But a lot of other things. I've been at restaurants and paid for a check for a service person or their family, or McDonald's. If I see someone, I'll pick up the tab for their lunch, just because it's, they're dedicating their life to protect our freedom. So just simple things, but I think the most important thing is just saying thank you when you have the opportunity.
What can we do, John, to thank a veteran today?
You could help put up flags or serve your community.
Bravery is the capacity to form properly, even when scared to death. Omar Nelson Bradley, U.S. Army. Omar Nelson Bradley was a senior officer of the United States Army during and after World War II. Eventually, he was promoted to the rank of General of the Army. Bradley was the first chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He oversaw the U.S. military policymaking in the Korean War. We believe his story exemplifies his quote about bravery because when faced with an enemy in a war, he chose to stand and fight when so many others might have ran.
The tribute to armed services is recognized as a collaboration of the official songs of the 5 services of the United States Armed Forces: Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The song titles include The Army Goes Rolling Around, Marines Hymn, Anchors Away, U.S. Air Forces, and Semper Paratus. Please listen carefully as the Canfield Village Middle School Cardinal Chorale sings the Tribute to the Armed Services.
Sometimes veterans come home with more than battle scars. We thank them for what we see on the outside, but we should also remember what they're keeping in on the inside. John Breska, who served in the Army, immigrated from Poland to fight in Vietnam with Scout dogs. His story captures the idea of looking beyond the outside scars and deeply examining the battle wounds beyond the surface in the poem After the War.
Who comes to calmer waters where life's normal once again, but he's having trouble fitting in for he's shaken bad internally. It's a price they pay for defending, but the dreams are never ending.
Mr. Knoll, what do you think that students can do to thank and honor a veteran today?
First of all, I would say this. Veterans Day is an awesome day, and it's a great opportunity for us to reach out to our local veterans. So some things that I think our kids could do. Number one, write letters. And I'm talking like handwritten letters. Not necessarily an email, but I'm kind of an old school kind of guy, and I think people really love to get handwritten letters. It could be a card or something that's created. I think another opportunity might be to talk to a veteran face to face. It could be a grandpa, it could be a grandma, it could be some other relatives, it could be people at your church or other organizations that you're involved in. I think is another great idea. And then if there's any way to do some type of community service, some things that I've seen kids do in the past is go rake some leaves this type of time of the year, or make that connection. Is there anything else I could do? Maybe I could go do some grocery shopping, or I could walk the dog. Try to do some type of community service activity for our veterans to show them that you love and appreciate their sacrifice for them.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We also want to know, why should students take the time to thank and honor veterans for their service?
Well, as a superintendent, I always talk about teachable moments. And to me, this is a time where we can reflect and have our kids show appreciation for the body of work that our veterans have done. The sacrifice that our veterans have done for the freedoms that we have today, including my dad, who's right behind me here. My dad served in World War II. And sadly, when veterans, when those folks pass away, this is what you get. You get a flag to help remember them. But to me, this is a great opportunity to show the appreciation and to be able to express that in some act of kindness, like we talked about earlier, or whatever you can do. But to me, it's a great day, a good time to reflect on the opportunities and privileges we have because of the sacrifices that our veterans have put in place.
The soldier is the army. No army is better than its soldiers. The soldier is also a citizen. In fact, the highest obligation and privilege of citizenship is that of bearing arms for one's country.
These are the words from General George S. Patton, which ties into the theme of Everyone's Story Matters by encouraging our stories to come together and serve for one's country.
Nelson, why do you think we need to thank veterans for their service?
I believe we need to thank veterans for their service because when I think of the United States military, I think of all the branches. I think of the Stars and Stripes, and I think of all the men and women who are courageous enough to protect our country every day. They stay up through the darkest nights watching over us and defending us, our families, and our friends. Whether it's 100 miles away on the coast or 10,000 miles away overseas, they are protecting us. Without these men and women, where would America be today? These are the people who fight so we don't have to. They fight so we can have a life of peace and safety. They fight so we can go to bed knowing that this country will forever be unscathed by any evil who has the nerve to cross it. This goes without saying, but a big thank you to any veterans joining us today. Thank you.
Lily, why do you think we need to thank veterans for their service?
I believe we need to thank veterans for their service because we owe a great debt to our veterans. Veterans are everyday Americans that sacrifice their lives for you and me. They protect our Constitution, our freedoms, and our families. Some veterans have missed the birth of their own children
Some have been injured, and many have made the ultimate sacrifice for this country. We will never be able to repay this debt, but our respect and thankfulness will be forever. Today, we honor those who are currently serving. Former President Ronald Reagan once said, "Though freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We did not pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be protected and handed down for them to do the same." Freedom is not something to be won and done. Freedom is continuously fought for and protected so that we can live our lives. If we did not have the military, America would not be America. So today and every day, let's thank the people who took the oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. To our men and women in uniform, past, present, and future, God bless you and thank you.
Taps is a bugle call sounded during military funerals and memorial events to remember those who gave their lives to protect our country of the United States of America. During the Civil War, it was a signal for lights out and bedtime, but now is used to commemorate the Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Marines. Taps was composed by Daniel Butterfield when he was a major general for the Union Army. Taps was first played at a funeral at the Peninsula Campaign during the Civil War. The origin of the word comes from the Dutch language for tattoo, because Daniel Butterfield slightly modified the Scots tattoo. It has followed 3 drum beats that came after it, so it was dubbed the drum taps, then just taps.
Soldiers above all others pray for peace, for it is soldiers who must suffer and bear the deepest wounds and scars of war. Douglas MacArthur. MacArthur won the Army Medal of Honor, Bronze Star Medal, Silver Star, and many other awards. To earn the Bronze Star, you have to show an act of bravery and courage. The Medal of Honor is awarded to those who risk their lives above and beyond the call of duty in actual combat. We believe his story talks about how soldiers know the price they are going to pay to achieve peace, but still are willing to do it.
Hallie, why do you think we need to thank veterans for their service?
I think we should thank veterans for their service because personally both of my grandfathers have served in the military and they spent time and dedication away from their families to ensure our country's freedom.
Sean, why do you think that we need to thank veterans for their service?
I think we need to thank veterans for their service because they risked their entire life to keep us free and have a nice country. They also protect us, and they need to know how thankful we are for them.
Mr. Maroney, why do you think we need to thank veterans for their service?
Well, the sacrifices that they make, some of the people have made the ultimate sacrifice of giving their lives, but everybody gives something. There are military members who put their lives on hold to go serve in the military. They put college off, they put family off to serve in the military and protect us. So that's why I think you have to say thank you, is because a lot of times, the things that we do on a daily basis, they have deprived themselves up so they can serve the country and protect us.
Jake, why do you think we need to thank veterans for their service?
They're out risking their lives and they don't know everybody in the country and they're just doing it on their own free will.
Thanks. Ashley, why do you think that we need to thank veterans that have served?
We need to thank veterans because every day they're risking our lives, and even though they don't know us, they're still could die anytime that they're out on the battlefield, but yet they still do it to help save America.
Our theme of Everyone's Story Matters is captured in the written work of Cheryl Dyson. On Veterans Day, we honor all who answered to a service call. Soldiers young and soldiers old fought for freedom, brave and bold. Some have lived while others died, and all of them deserve our pride. We're proud of all the soldiers who kept thinking of red, white, and blue. They fought for us and all our rights. They fought through many days and nights. And though we may not know each name, we thank all veterans just the same.
Remember that everyone's story matters, from toddlers to the elderly to old members of the military to a family of a veteran and to people who just have a story of a veteran. Former President Barack Obama believes, in the face of impossible odds, people who love this country can change it. Today, how can you bring change to a veteran's story? We wish we could thank all of the veterans personally, but thank you to the 8th grade band, Cardinal Chorale, Mr. Knoll, Mrs. Eaton, Mrs. Nagy, Mrs. Meese, and their classes, Mr. Tarosi, Mr. Rubin, Mr. Maroney, and students that participated.
Let's put our words into actions with this Veterans Day application assignment. Teachers, please pass out the provided paper and ask students to make a card thanking a veteran. Cards can be dropped off in the mailroom anytime over the next couple of days. Really think about what you personally can thank a veteran for. Also, please use this time to continue the discussion in class about the ways in which we can thank veterans today, as well as why we should thank veterans for their service.